Today I want to give you a fantastic resource. It's a book. Most of the resources that I put up are books, but I call them resources because they're not necessarily something that you would read cover to cover. They're something that you would use as a resource. You would have it in your home and use it periodically when you needed it. Now, this is called The Death of Christian Culture by John Senior. And he's an incredible guy and all that kind of stuff. And I haven't read the book. So why am I blogging about it? Well, at some point, I may read it, but I didn't want to wait until I had read it because I have so many other things that are coming up that I'm working on for other various reasons that I didn't want to wait to tell you about this book, because in the back is this incredible resource. It's his The 1,000 Good Books, or What Everyone Should Have Read. Now, he makes the case that he references the Great Books movement with Adler and Hutchins and all them, and he says, you know, it was a good idea, and there's another book about that movement called A Good Idea at the Time, which is kind of a funny title. And it was a good idea, but it really kind of fell flat. And in Senior's opinion, the reason for that was because that people weren't prepared for the great books because they hadn't read the good books yet. Culture couldn't bear it. Education had changed so much over the previous 75 to 100 years in America that many people didn't have a good foundation to give them the capacity to read the great books. Now, I do spend time in the great books, and I enjoy and appreciate, and it's what my master's work is based on, but they're not for everybody all the time. That's why we cover great book excerpts on the blog, so that you can have a taste of them in a very, little tiny bite-sized chunks and get your mind around what's in there. And the reason that we approach them that way at the Ten Boom Institute is simply because we know that we don't have the common cultural foundation, educational foundation really, to really grasp the great books the way that we should. And Senior understands that, and so he says the seeds were good, but the cultural soil has been depleted. That's his way of saying that we weren't ready for the great books, and so let's spend time in the good books first. And he says, Western tradition has given us the 1,000 good books as a preparation for the great ones. And so he's narrowed it down to 1,000. He says, great books call for philosophical reflection. Good books are popular, appealing especially to the imagination. But obviously some authors are both great and good, and their works may be read more than once from different angles. And so he gives us a short page-and-a-half introduction, and he says that he feels like, especially, and he's totally right, if you haven't been exposed to these, if you haven't had these, you should start here. I mean, I've been spending time in fairy tales, and unfortunately, I didn't spend very much time in fairy tales when my older kids were younger, and I should have, and I just didn't know that, and I didn't know what to look for in fairy tales, and I didn't understand what they were about, and that again is why we're posting reading skills on all these different things on the blog for you. So, this starts out nursery, ages 2 to 7, school days 7 to 12, and then adolescents, ages 12 to 16. And what he has, a lot of these, he's got 12 to 16, and then he's got 16 and older. He has 16 to 20, sorry. And then, it's 16 to adult. He says till 20, and he has his favorite authors, like he's got Wilkie Collins. That whole page is a list by that one author, because he really feels like that's an author that you should read a lot of what they've written. And so some of these are taken from, there's much fewer authors in the set, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. Then there's not 1,000 authors. There's just 1,000 books. But, the Grimm's Fairy Tales is one. So there you go. You really need to get this book so that you can have the list at the back. And I have a good friend who loves education and has also a good solid liberal arts foundation, and I think a master's degree in education as well. And she does all kinds of phenomenal events and speaking and things, but she took the time. She was so in love with this list that she took the time to research, because they're older works intentionally. Most of them were pre-20th century, because he feels like we need that foundation to help us get through the great books. that she has linked. Last time I talked to her, I think she had all but maybe less than a dozen of them that she had found online, and she had links to them or maybe easy ways to get them because some of them were virtually lost. And they're phenomenal, and she has been working her way through them and all that kind of thing. So I will get that link from her and link it for you so that you can go find them online and enjoy reading them through that list, or of course you can buy them because I'm all about marking the book, print them off, hard copy, whatever. But that's what this is about, the death of Christian culture. Maybe it's a fantastic book. I'm actually not sure, but I'm blogging on it for the list in the back. The appendix is phenomenal. So get this and go to the back and get started in reading the good books so you can get ready for the great books.